Hello everyone and welcome back to this awesome Cup Awesome Nuts qualifier.
Cheers, sir.
Cheers.
Tea with cream, yes, yes.
It is not dignified for me to drink on the stream.
No.
Anyway, as we come back into the stream, we are now doing the game 2 between Run and Ritz.
Run in the space.
So in the last game, that was a very interesting game to see how that turned out.
I liked it.
And it was the interplay between the Clunk and his ability to land, and the Coco and her ability to stop that explosion landing. And again, against the interplay between Thunderstriker and Raylan. So it was definitely down to the Coco, and that ended up being a well-played Coco that ended up in a win for Team Run. Now it's Run versus Ritz yet again, and this time on a different map.
Yes.
With different picks.
Yes, we are going to feed the worm here on Serona, as finally we actually have something else than Aguilar on map. But who are our participants today, Mr. Wolf?
Okay, so we got Ritz playing Vinny and Spike, Froggy G, and Raylan. On Team Run, we've got Raylan, we've got Gnau, and we have Leon Chameleon. So,
no Cocos.
No Cocos, not this time.
Banned.
Probably banned.
I'm going to guess a ban.
Same thing probably happened with the Clunk.
Also, probably.
Also, probably. So with Run in the Space, we are definitely focusing on Vinny's power on this level. He is an extremely, he's a very versatile character in Serona, but he's also incredibly hard to catch because he can float. Raylan, very fast, able to clear out lanes fairly quickly. And Froggy, a very active, aggressive ganker. For Team Run, we've got Gnau, we've got Raylan, and we've got Leon. And this is a very confusing lineup for me.
Why?
No, I can understand.
Yep.
These Weedlings in the middle, they just make
It's
perfect sense.
fantastic.
I guess we tongue people into Weedlings and Time Rift.
Not quite, but yeah.
But I don't know. It's like Leon and Raylan or Leon and Nah, but Raylan and Nah, it's just, hey, let's poison things and hope that Snipe plus Poison is enough to kill people from poking. And I guess that's all they've really got going for them, and that might be difficult considering how either far away they're going to be or how hard it is to just catch them in the first place.
Now, quick theory. Perhaps this isn't a big wombo combo. Perhaps this is actually just a chase you down kind of comp. You know, as you said, not in the middle. How are we actually going to clear out those Weedlings? Well, Froggy G has a little bit of an invulnerability. We could also throw down the Cloud and Dash. But there's not really that many places that maybe some of the newer players into the scene are actually going to have a Raylan snipe actually able to angle down into that mid area. So if we do actually have those weeds, that's going to be a good base here for Run to set up. And then you got Poisons, you got Snipes, and then you got a Leon to chase them down. So it might not be bigger wombo, but it might actually be a setup here for the Leon to get chased. And if he can actually get a few chases and get a few kills, that could catapult him into an auto attack monster to which you can snowball the rest of the game.
Well, let's see if that works out, but I've got one last problem with that, is that Vinny and Spike could probably horribly punish Weedlings being clumped together. But
Could be.
Could be.
Yeah.
But we'll have to see. We'll see how the skill plays out in this map. Game 2 out of this best of 3 between Ritz and Run. On the red team, we have Ritz's Aragos playing the Raylan yet again. We got we got Vinny being played by Golele. And then finally, we got Erza playing the Froggy J. On the blue team, we've got Chappie playing his Leon. We got Raylan being played by Bert. And we've got the Gnau being played by Ao Mao yet again.
Now, you did bring up a point. Those spike dashes are going to be able to punish really heavily clumped Weedlings, but already you can see the big rush to the middle. Now, Aragos, it looks like he was far enough forward there to get off those snipes, and that's really going to be the big challenge here for Red, controlling the Weedlings so that they do not lose out this positioning in the mid. And something to note, this is our first level that's not enclosed, so we have a lot of wide vertical space in the sky for that Vinny to kind of play around with.
And if there's one thing that Vinny loves, it's this level. This level is so good for him. And if they're up against Weedlings that are anywhere near clumps in the middle, he can make use of a bad situation and really feed himself some solar. But let's see what kind of stuff they're deciding to go for in this map. Items-wise, Raylan's picked up base abilities, and Vinny's picked up Dash into Chrome File, so going straight into an aggressive damage build. And the Frogs picked up Dash, NATO, and Boots alongside his Piggy Bank. On the blue team, we've these on Nah, we got Boots and Snipe on the Raylan, and we've got Tongue and Boots on the Leon. So going for very aggressive, very mobile, very fast teams right out of the gate for the blue side. And on the red side, we're still going for that same level of aggression as well. So both teams will be down to execution as Aragos barely makes it away with his life from the blue team.
Yeah, I was looking for that snipe from Bert, but the Bert just didn't hit it, which is unfortunate. Now we're going to have a lot of return damage there on top of Chappie, but if there's any way that you can get away from a Vinny, it's just go down. Go straight down, because he's naturally float upwards, and that's actually probably going to be your best bet. Try to get some walls in front of you there as well, and you saw, Chappie's going to be A-okay for now, but still middle, I want to say, is more control heavy right now for blue, because they do got those weedlings set up, a lot of poisons, and those poisons on those platforms, I mean, gravity is going to say that you're going to go up and then come back down, and the poisons so far are really doing work against this red team.
Yeah, and for base spit, it's not an insignificant amount of damage at this stage, and it does help with that. You've got the snipe to kind of pick people off. If it's like, oh, I'll start running away now, and all of a sudden snipe happens, then there's a problem. Aragos here, you're probably going to die to poison, as he takes a lot of damage and ends up going down to an Olay. Chappie now running away for his life, and the Frog Erza wants him, and he's not going to get it. He's just a little bit slow on that dash. So Erza taking some spit damage. Now you got Golele going in for a dash to try to harass. He's not going to hit anybody with that. And Erza now very badly hurt. He's going to have to pick up some creeps to get back into this fight.
I thought my camera was actually centered on the Raylan, so I'm a little annoyed that I actually missed the kill shot. But, I mean, Raylan basically, she tried to snipe out the Weedlings there in the mid, actually didn't hit them because they weren't so far over. Went in to actually get a time rift on him and basically paid for it with her life. And, that's not a good trade, trading your life for a few Weedlings. I mean, the Weedlings are so easily replaced, but your life is definitely something you need to be valuing a little bit more there. So, again, you can already see the trouble for running the space as they're coming into this one.
Running the space is having a hard time getting into the middle and keeping track of it, which, again, is a bad thing. It means that the blue team, team run can actually just go underneath the worm and pick up the solar safely, which is a lot of extra solar. Remember how in the last game we talked about how it's the little things that matter? Yeah, in this case, it is a lot of little bits if you're underneath that worm. So, all things considered, things are looking really good for Team Run as they go underneath the worm, deny the solar, and just pick up their late game, which, thanks to the Leon pick, is legitimate, like a little bit stronger than it is on the other side.
And these Arago snipes are just not hitting these marks. They're not hitting the Weedlings. They're not really hitting Armand because they're targeting the Weedlings, which they're not hitting. And that's actually, again, leading them into a little bit of a map issue here. Chappie is actually going to be here as well, but doesn't get out on that snipe. Just a little bit too slow on the trigger. Bert is now potentially in a little bit of trouble, but he's actually going to come back down. Doesn't really look like there's a huge amount of focus on him. Chappie just trying to use the vertical space to his movement ability, or to his best of his ability to avoid those snipes, and he does, which means that Golele is now relegated to defense.
Right now, we're at the 5-minute mark, practically. We have 1 kill on the board, 4-team run. As Erza almost running into the worm there, that would have been very embarrassing. But, like right now, things are looking extremely good for Team Run. They have only no people with Piggy Bank, actually. And they are still keeping up in Solar. In fact, they're starting to beat out the other team ever so slightly, thanks to that worm farm. And the other side, having picked up 2 Piggy Banks, that's not very good at all. Upgrades that have been picked up. So far, we've got Boots on Vinny and the plus 10 damage on Dash. Now, one thing that I'd like to point out here is the Naw's ability to force builds that people wouldn't normally want to build into. Look at Aragos' Raylan. He's got regen, right?
Actually, they did that last time, too, on the Raylans.
Right, but I have a feeling that had a lot more to do with the Naw, because the Raylan on the blue team, on Team Run this time, straight into Boots, which is, under more circumstances, a far more valuable upgrade to have on Raylan.
At least level 1.
Right.
Well, level 3 or 4, whatever we're at.
Exactly. So right now, at the stage that we're at with like 500 to 700 solar or so, oh my gosh, what is that?
I don't have words for that exchange.
That just happened.
Yeah,
that was a thing.
It totally did.
Aragos going for a snipe. But one of the things that Naw does is it forces people to buy into upgrades they don't necessarily want to build into.
Good hit. And
it still does a good job of countering the one Naw to a degree, but it's not ideal. It's certainly not something that they want to have to do, and that's one of the strengths that Naw has is forcing those different buying orders out of the other team and maybe delaying the game that they want to play. Yep.
They really want to try to work on their pest control here.
Absolutely, and since it doesn't matter how much snipe damage you get on Raylan's snipe, unless if you're getting that and the flashy glasses upgrade, you're not dealing extra damage to creeps.
And that is a point worth bringing up because of some of the stealth nerfs to the more bursty ranged characters like Coco, like Raylan. If you go Weedling health, you now have to actually heavily invest in trying to take them out.
Erza taking a lot of damage from being on that Rift. Armand being able to run away thanks to the well-placed Rift. Erza now going to be able to get out of there just fine because he's managed to pick up some health creeps. So he should be fine, but that looked a little bit tricky for a second.
There's another thing to bring up. Armand, he has only 3 of those weeds in the mid. Do you know where that other one is, Wolf?
It might have died. It's upstairs?
It's right here.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been feeding him creep kills. Oh, that's right. That was pause. It's been feeding him creep kills repeatedly throughout this game. So he, as you see, 916 solar to his name. He literally has a direct feed into the spawn rates right there. And you see the health flying across the screen every so often to prove it.
That's one thing that is important about Gnaw play, is that usually you want to get the
That
biggest
was a huge hit.
That was a really good hit. He managed to hit with an antique machine gun, so he does have the size increase on Vinny's spike dash, which is a really good way of being able to poke and harass and kill from much farther distances than you normally be able to. Golele taking a lot of poison damage now that the double upgrade on spike sped. And looking for creeps. Yeah, looking for creeps up there, not finding them. Now Armand looking for it. He's going to go out there. He's going to hit the spit. That's going to be a kill. That is going to be a kill as the spit damage on impact ends up doing enough. But Armand gets killed in return, meaning all the weedlings are gone, and that is an important kill to be getting early game. Like I was saying before, Gnaw gets a lot of solar early when he places the weedlings like he has been, and you want to stop that as much as possible. A strong early game Gnaw can really snowball pretty hard for his team.
I wasn't actually paying too much attention to Erza there, so I got to give him props for the kill because didn't actually predict that. But as you said, as you lose out the Gnaw, so do the weedling pressure. It just evaporates there. So they will have actually a little bit more control now in the mid, as we now have actually Gnaw back on the map. He's come down through the drop pod, but that also leaves us a little opportunity here to farm up under the worm. Now, unfortunately, we're not really going to get so much pressure on these turrets up against Run because we have Leon in one lane with clones and damage, just able to stall it out. But at the same time, Bert has that T800 droid, so he's actually been putting that repeatedly down, basically on cooldown, and that has been also helping out just defaultly pushing the lanes.
It has been, and now that Armand is back, he will be able to put weedlings down where he needs to. He's also got maximum upgraded spit damage, so that's going to be a lot of damage no matter how much regen you've got out. And so far, no other regen being put out, only the 1 rank on Aragos. So that could be a very painful lesson for the red team right now if Armand does get off those spits. The question is whether he'll continue with the poison damage and go for the dental braces. If he does do that, then that's going to be very painful kiting and hit and run potential coming out of Armand. If he doesn't go for spit damage, for the bite poison damage, then this might be a very different game. It's not something I would normally be used to seeing. But we'll see what happens.
Now, both of our ratings are kind of going a little different in terms of their builds. It said T800 droid versus the range on the sniper, or on the sniper, that laser shot. But it's almost forced here from Red. They need that range in order to try to just do damage from afar, keep these lanes pushed, as well as try to control the weedlings. Whereas we don't have that pressure here on top of Run, so that's why we're having a little bit more of a varied build order. Where's the Golele? Yeah, it looks like he's going to be all right under that tower, but Chappie is going to actually get the brunt of that. Snipe, and he's going to have to just retreat as well. Snipe's going back and forth plenty, but we do got the Weedling Fortress now set up again here in mid.
That Weedling Fortress again going to really help farm. There's another Weedling back upstairs in the jungle, so that'll be feeding a couple of solar to the Gnaw every little while. And again, it's the little things that really matter the most. Now, Aerostar coming in with a NATO that has the shield on it, so it's a lot harder to kill him, and it's a lot easier to kill the Weedlings as a result. So that's a good weed clearing idea. But as things stand right now, again, 2 regen ranks on the Raylan.
So much poison damage.
Yeah, and that no one else has any regen. So as a result, there's nothing much else going to really happen here in terms of being able to stay alive. If that poison spit hits anybody other than the Raylan, it's going to be a problem.
Thank you, Champ. Yeah, it will be a problem. But right now, in terms of kills, 11 minutes in and only 3 kills, Mr. Wolf. It's definitely been more of a fight there for the mid. Golele, again, just keeps getting hit by poison after poison after poison. And it's really kind of hindering his ability to continually just be in the lane. We don't have also the Cloud or the burgers for him.
And I think that's probably one of the biggest downsides to his current build right now, is that he's up against the Gnaw, and he's not building into that sustainability that allow him to defend and actually feed off of the Nas playstyle, which is setting up weedlings in the middle. Imagine you go in there, you cloud, and you get like 5 or 6 targets in there. That is a lot of extra solar, and you can farm that up incredibly fast. So even if you don't have the middle, you'd have one character getting a lot of farm, it would be incredibly sustainable, hard to kill, and they're not playing that way. So Golele going to have a very difficult game, I think, in this game too, just because if Na lands his poison damage, it's going to really hurt. Speaking of which, he's now picked up damage amplification and slow, 1 rank in each for his spit. So if he goes in with that right click, there's going to be a lot of there could be the potential for a lot of pain coming out of Team Run.
So like, it's not like we're saying that they're playing it wrong. It's just, other avenues that you could be doing. There's a lot of strategy built into Ozanod simply because of that loadout system. And there's a lot of ways that you can actually deal with different things. And everyone has, of course, their own solution. But Golele has to find out what his solution is going to be to this poison damage. Because time and time again, every time I come to him, he's just running away behind tower with a ton of damage taken away on him.
Absolutely. And that's not what you want at all. Like, you want to be being aggressive, you want to be annoying, you want to be farming a lot with Vinny, especially in the early game. So
it's all about the bouncy castle today.
Apparently. Erza doing a lot of damage to Armand. Armand probably going to have to run back and just play it safe for a little while.
He has Weedlings up in the top.
Yep, so they're going to go ahead and heal him for this in the short amount of time. He's going to right-click, hit the spit on Golele. Golele now down to about a third of his HP after all the spit is said and done. He will be fine, but he'll have to, again, go home for a quick second, heal up, and then go back.
Damage
and then go back when it's safe to come out.
Yep, so Argos is a little bit more forceful now with those snipes. Erza with the tornadoes. I like the tornado combo because a frog without both base abilities just kind of almost feels not nearly as deadly. So I like that actually has picked that up. We've seen that more and more now. That range on Argos is absolutely massive. We also have, or at least had, a Weedling up in the enemy jungle there on top of Run in the space, but I don't think that's actually there anymore, and lots of damage being traded back and forth.
Absolutely. Erza, now, he took a little bit of damage there from the poison spit. He was very close to dying, but he ended up surviving, which is very good. He's now at home, healing up at the base, but this does mean that there's a brief period of time where the blue team can go ahead and put a little bit of damage on these turrets, or maybe look for another gank opportunity, see if they can't find a kill on Golele. Oh, wow, he started sniping inside of the time rift. But it didn't really matter. Erza managed to kill off Bert. Bert obviously standing still for a little bit too long, and he ends up getting killed as a result.
And that's the danger of a snipe in the middle of an enemy trio. I mean, it's not anything you can do about that, especially with a frog initiation, because you're going to be standing there. But speaking of standing there, one more chappie. No, doesn't actually grab it. It's Golele with the counter kill.
And that brings the kills to 3 and 2 for Team Ritz and Run, respectively. At the 14:30 mark. So this game going so far very passive. Teams are playing very, very safe. They don't want to die.
Armand's in trouble.
Armand might be in trouble, but he's got access to spit, and guess who got hit by it and a damage amp to go with it? That's going to be a kill due to Dot, if I'm not mistaken.
There it goes.
Armand getting another kill. So again, that poison being very powerful. That damage amplification not to be underestimated either, as that helped the turret and Bert do enough damage to weaken him enough to die, to succumb to the venom.
So now we're seeing actually a bit more of an offensive frog coming out. He does have a few of those abilities under his belt, a few upgrades as well. You can see them there on the screen. But as well, did you see that? Bert, that's not Bert. Bert went for a snipe mid, but it was actually the dash through it to get to him, and then it was the tornado, and then Bert is basically just forced into defense right there. If Frog can continually put himself in a position to actually interrupt the snipe, not only is it going to lead into his combo, it could actually lead into a burst kill with the help of Golele, friends.
Speaking of Golele, he is taking
done.
the damage amp and enough poison damage that he should be deceased. He ends up going down here. Again, Armand doing a very good job of playing the penny in this particular role right now, going for that damage amp and high damage on spit. It's the same sort of deal as going for the pulse on penny. So it's proving to be very useful with the Leon and the Raylan, who can help pick off people from a distance to really cement those kills for the Nas. So he's currently snowballing a little bit now at 1600, which is the equivalent to Erza's 1600 on Frog. Excuse me, but the way that they've managed to spend their solar is, in fact, quite different.
Okay. I'm not entirely too sure Argos actually meant for that to go that way, but Armand is actually looking very juicy for a big spike kill right now, and I think he knows it, so he's just going to bide his time a little bit more in the safety of his base. Actually, he's thinking about it. No, maybe not. Nah, he doesn't actually know what he wants to do right now, but Argos and crew are still heavy here on the defense. That range snipe is actually, if she can use it continually from the back, unlike Bert, who, again, in the middle of everything is just not the position you want to snipe Bert. You want to be more like Aragos here in the back where you can't get hit. And as I say that, he actually takes a ton of damage. But still, another kill going the way of red.
No, and that was tying up the board as Run actually ended up taking the lead for a brief period of time here. But, yeah, like you said, the red team getting another kill, tying back up. They're still not by any they're not by any stretch of this out of this game. And as far as the late game is concerned, I think that they've got it, actually. Right now, as we start going into the mid-game, start up that mid-game, they are going to see a slight increase in power as Vinny starts getting more of his dash damage upgrades. Ooh. And he's now fully finished them off. He's going to get more utility out of his bubble gun or his cloud. And
look at this. We're having push power now coming out from running the space.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Frog's downstairs, split pushing that bottom turret. It's taken a third of its life in damage. You got the blue team who's now finally coming back and who's going to attempt to deal with it.
Very interesting, yeah. So 4-4, 17 minutes in, not the biggest in terms of kills, but there goes Chappie as he actually gets bursted down. Aragos is going to be a little bit on the run, but it's not actually going to be a kill there for Armand. And now again down a member, and we're already having some big counter pressure coming up with these towers. This actually could lead us into a solar lead coming out from red, who has been pretty much more or less behind this entire time.
And that solar lead that you're talking about is beginning to start here. We're still under a significant amount.
700 damage dash.
Yeah,
that's good.
That is a max damage dash, but there's still a cloud that you can build into. There's still a bubble gun you can build into, and that's where Vinny's really going to see a lot of his power come in, is from the utility out of his cloud or from the damage out of his gun. Either way, Vinny's only going to get a little bit more. Is going to get a lot more powerful in the next 4 minutes or so. Nah is now almost maxed out on his spit. He is maxed out on his spit. But
and he's going to be maxed out on death in a moment.
Yeah, absolutely, if this keeps up. And yep, there we go. There's the dash. Now it's up to Chappie to maybe get a return kill onto Aragos. He's going to succeed with Armand's poison.
Yeah.
Getting the last hit there. So 1-for-1 exchange, which is what they want to keep up here. Golele now taking a lot of extra damage. The snipe, the tongue, the stabs. It's going to be done. So that's 2-for-1 exchange. Now it's Bert to run away, but Erza not going to go ahead and follow up on that. Now Chappie's looking for a kill on Erza maybe, or just going to push the lane in, and that's exactly what he ends up doing. Oh, now here's Erza. He's going to just jump around and be annoying. Never mind. He's going to be Frog.
Jump, 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 jump around.
Look at me, I'm a frog.
Yeah, I mean,
jump away.
The frogs have usually, we've said this way before, in many times in a lot of the tournaments in the past. The frog is a slippery character. He's a very mobile kind of guy. He has a tendency of getting in, getting out the damage, and then just running away in almost flawless fashion. King Richards, Whoopies, guys that we've seen, Nikki, sorry.
Yeah.
Guys that we've seen that love Frog. I mean, I've seen your Frog in solo queue, man, when we play. It's pretty on point, too. Maybe not League 1 point, but at the same time, again, you use the same fundamentals. You get in, you get the damage, and then you get out. And the mobility, especially with these jump pads, go actually really well with that huge jump range that the Frog has.
Absolutely. He can make any jump fast. He can make a jump very quickly. He's extremely mobile, both vertically and horizontally. Not the fastest character in the game, but he's certainly the most mobile, I would argue, between his dash, his NATO, and his base and natural move speed and jump heights. So, all things considered, really well plays time left, actually, all things considered. But Frog, really good on this map. He's an extremely strong late game character as well as Vinny, and Raylan, who peaks in the late mid, still is incredibly useful later on. So right now, Red's team looking very, very strong, whereas Armand and... Yep, there goes Bert.
Down.
Bert goes down. Erza just staying on top of Bert. Bert unable to really get away. And now it's 3v2, currently 7-6 in favor of Team Ritz, right? No, it's...
Ritz is on the left.
That's right. So Team Ritz, oh my goodness, versus Team Ritz, with Team Ritz in the lead, currently ahead by 1 kill. Turrets, however, fairly even.
Now, had Chappie actually landed that tongue, it would have stopped out that... snipe, but as it turns out, it looks like the spike dash there from the Vinny didn't actually hit. But now look at this. This is actually a really massive push. There's at least 4 droids in that. Kolele, of course, with the bubble guns, and Raylan with her hits. That is now the first turret. But it took 20 minutes to actually get that turret.
Yeah, then that's the thing. With Sirona, it's one of those longer games. If one turret goes down, the other turret will typically go down fairly quickly after it. Aragos looking for a snipe. He's not going to find Armand now running for his life. Erza probably going to be able to kill him if he decides to commit to it, but he doesn't. Aragos going to go home as well. Now it's Erza on his last legs, or trying to run away from the Leon anyway. He's going to pick up the solar underneath there. He's going to go ahead and take that out. Golele taking a lot of damage as well.
Yep.
And it seems like people are just skirmishing against one another. There's no real concerted team fight effort right yet as blue team scrambles to clear out the lanes that are now pushed up against them.
So 7-6, you know, I'd say that we're starting to transition out of the mid and into the late because we're about to hit those 2,000 marks for a lot of these knots. Already 2,100 there for Armand, 2,300 there for the Frog. So again, they're starting to get majority of their items now in places. Man, we're still having Erza. Like Erza has a big boost of confidence now. You can see him consistently going in and in and in. It's very different from the early because again, we do have a lot more of those items now under his belt and able to be put into use. All of blue is actually retreating right now.
I think one of the things that's contributing to Erza's found confidence right now is the fact that he's started to pick up dash upgrades that matter a little bit more.
Look, we got a Cloud
so between,
too.
Yeah, we do have Cloud finally on Golele. He's decided to go for that, at least the base ability, but no other upgrades for it quite yet. But yeah, Frog now has Mutant Ninja Worms, so he can now do a bunch of extra damage with his fish gun. And he's picked up 1 rank in Hammer Pants. So he's starting to pick up those really cost-efficient damage upgrades that people like Nikki would go an entire game just with the basic like Hammer Pants practically and still be able to do well. So those upgrades finally coming out, and I think it's starting to show in terms of their play.
Come on, Bert, you got to aim up if you want to hit it.
Yeah, well, you got to aim up or you got to be a little bit closer to the creeps to hit those to hit the melee ones right there.
But you can see Battle of the Time Rifts now coming out. That's actually going to be a snipe. Golele again. That amplification, the poison, and the snipe is keeping them perpetually a little bit lower. Do we actually have solar crabs now? No solar crabs to be found, and no solar cloud either. So, I mean, he's really just going for the bubble guns. He's really going for the dashes. And so far, I mean, what kind of kills? 3 and 4 for Golele. In fact, where do the rest of the kills actually land? 1-2 for Aragos. 3-0, though, for Erza. As you can see, you know, feeling, again, really good coming here into the late.
Absolutely, yeah. The one thing that Golele is probably thinking of when he's thinking of his cloud upgrades right now is that he can be as powerful as he wants with that cloud. He doesn't have to use it on solar game. Like that ability becomes a very weak form of regen in the late game. Now he can go for other stuff like movement speed, immunity, and silence, or size, silence, and movement speed if he wanted to. So he could dash in, then silence everybody with this massive cloud, do a bunch of left-click damage, and then chase anybody who's trying to run away. Like he's got those options with cloud now because he decided to not go for that regen item. So
yeah, Bert going to take another 700 there to the face, and no real kind of regen options there for Bert. We did actually have Na back in town. He did do a little bit of shopping. He's now going to set up some Weedlings into the top because he still wants that constant drip of hit points, because that's a big key thing here for Na. For Na to really just continually duel out, and he has, you know, that back end pocket of hit points, as it looks like Bert apparently just gets ambushed by Erza. It's something that you really need to keep on top of, but Red Team has been continually denying this out, and I think they actually now have enough burst to maybe even just flat out murder him. But we've seen Bert actually not so good on this rating. 0 and 4 for a score. I don't think he didn't go monkey hand.
And, well, yeah, it's a good thing she didn't go monkey hand, but it also kind of shows in what she's managed to pick up over the course of this game. Her build has been very confused. Well, not confused, but it's been very erratic. She's gone from having T800 Dome, which is a good one-off, to getting cooldown on the snipe, to getting 1 rank of damage on the snipe, and then has height and time rift damage upgrades, has alien hand coming out of nowhere for her left click, and now she's got 2 ranks of regen and boots, but no other third utility upgrade. And it's weird. Like, it's very, very odd, and I'm not sure how I feel about that kind of build. All right, snipe coming out. Armand going to take the majority of it. He's going to walk away just fine. Chappie taking a bit of a time rift, but he's going to be, it's a very little time rift. The main thing with the other Raylan, like, look at the difference in the Raylan builds. We've got range and damage on 1, practically, and T800 Dome, and then 3 ranks in pills. Like, you know exactly what she's going to do, and she's going to do it very, very well. Bert, on the other hand, is very confused in terms of her build, and it's now, like, it's practically maxed out. You've got the 2 time rift upgrades and the height, but that's it. Chappie getting killed off by Erza, as he was trying to get invisible and run away. I'm going to take a wombo combo.
Good.
Everything hitting at the same dash time. Both dashes from the Vinny and the Frog, and then the snipe out of Aragos. So, like, lots of damage all at once. It was not a good time for them. So right now, it looks like Team Ritz looking to take this game. They're in a very good position right now. 26 minutes into this with 16 kills across the board. 10 for Ritz and 6 for Run.
He has Pierce. Does Bert have Pierce?
Yeah, Bert has Pierce. That's the reason. Like, that's another one of the reasons why this build is very confusing to me. It's just Pierce, but with no other damage upgrades to really amplify it. So.
Well, I mean, 10-6, like, that early game advantage was heavily in the favor of Run with the Weedling Fortress, with that extra solar, and even a few kills to their name. But I gotta say, the mid to late transition has actually come out very strong for Run in the space, and this is not, a one-off kind of thing. You can actually pick out a comp that might lose early, but if you can not, if you can afford to not lose too much, you can actually come out very strong here with the mid because of various factors. And I think this is definitely a comp that we're seeing here from Run in the space that is accelerating with that. Kalele actually was able to get out before any kind of big hits to stop him. So in terms of everything, like, the Frog has really come into a lot of damage. Like, earlier on, we saw him maybe not as effective, but he's about to pick up this kill on top of Armand. Easy peasy. He's sitting at 6-0 over the last 27 minutes. And, again, like, this mid to late comp is actually doing really, really good work up against Run because they're down to their last turret.
Yeah, no, it's I don't mean to toot my own horn, but that's kind of what I predicted earlier, is that they'd have that stronger late game due to the Frog and the Vinny together. And the Gnaw would peak at a certain point, and I can't think of a time when Gnaw has been useful over the past 5-6 minutes.
Where did Erza die? Oh, Erza actually lost a fight up against Chappie. Oh no, he got smooshed by a worm!
And
there was an Invis Leon on the Switch!
And you missed it.
And I oh.
Well, at least the worm's been fed once every 30 minutes. That's all I ask. Now Golele running away from Chappie. Chappie doing his best to make use of the lack of a frog. And he's jumping. He jumps the wrong way. Yes, he does, as the Vinny goes the other way. Golele now flying
Vinny
high.
can just stay up here for as long as he wants. Nice.
Yeah, what
well done.
A play. Very well bounced. And he's now he manages to get away just fine. Chappie now looking for another kill, but now Erza is back. And he's going to be back on the field very quickly. Everybody on the blue team needs to be extremely careful. That Frog now does a lot of damage.
Well, Golele is going to go in for that 700 burst.
Boom.
He's actually now going to jump away, but it set it up for Erza on the Burt, because this has been a very favored matchup, though, for Erza. Every time Burt goes in for the snipe, he just jumps him. And more often than not, it's actually running into kills. Golele looks like he's going to be okay. Has that solar cloud now for some reason, but Chappie does pick up the 500. He's going to be able to make a successful exit out of that, but still kills 12-5. It is heavily in the favor here of Run in the space. And if you look at the cache again, it's definitely telling the story of Ritz.
Solar cloud, though.
Yeah, now there goes Chappie. Why did Chappie not go all the way home?
So Chappie not going all the way home. Golele, as a result, going to go ahead and get the pick off there. Something that Vinny is very good at, securing kills. Now we've got Aragos trying to run away as fast as he can, but that rift is going to be enough to slow him down enough that Erza now here to dissuade Armand from chasing too far. So Aragos is going to get away just fine. Sharky and Remora now picked up, so he's got the range on the fish gun, as well as 3 ranks in Al Carper. So he's doing a decent amount of damage to those bubbles now. 6 damage apiece for a total of 160. Sorry, 60 damage apiece for a total of 180 damage every time that he hits with all 3 bullets, and it pierces. That's a lot of damage in a team fight if you even hit more than one person.
Yep.
So
now, if Burt turns around to snipe, I foresee death, because Armand is already down in the water. And, Froggy really coming to his own. A lot of big burst right there. And as you saw, was able to actually solo out now Armand. The time rift into the snipe combo, however, was enough to take down Burt. And now with 2 team members down, Golele was actually trying to push out for the third for the team wipe, but didn't actually catch it.
No, unfortunately, but it's a Leon defending a lone tower against 3 people. It's not likely he's going to be able to do much. He might get a kill on Golele here if he's careful, but no dice. He's going to have to just sit there and left-click as best as he can and then run away as he gets too close to dying at the risk of dying himself. So now he's looking for that kill on Golele. Golele taking a lot of damage, but he's not going to end up getting the kill.
This now, actually could be game right here.
Oh, it likely is game right now, because there's Cloud, there's Time Rift, and there's Frog. So all things considered, this game won't be long for this world. There's a lot of harassment and strange.
Armand, is there enough burst for him? No.
There is enough kill to get Argos, but Armand is going to just barely live. You're right. So Erza now going home. So I guess not right now.
Not quite game.
Not today.
No. Successful core defense is successful.
Yeah, what do we tell the god of death?
Apparently Frog had a lot of cash under his belt.
Yep. So he's going to finish off his pills. He's going to get his fish gun maxed out now. It's got all the attack speed and the damage available to it that he could possibly pick up. So now that fish gun's doing 10 damage a shot, unless if he's just dashed someone recently, in which case he's going to do a great deal more than that. Golele now looking to get away.
So close.
That might be a kill right there. Almost.
So close.
Almost. So close.
Yep.
But just not enough. No poison damage on the Gnaw. Gnaw instead going for the diamond bite.
Does he actually have no poison damage?
He's got no poison damage on his bite yet.
Wow. But Bert, however, suffers the wrath of Urza once more. 9-1 Frog.
Yeah, and that's not exactly hard to do at this point. He can just dash NATO, and then if at any point he's got a couple seconds to left click does 10 damage a bullet, and those bullets come out very, very fast.
Hello,
look at
Frog.
Him, yeah, look at him like come into this core, and he's just melting this thing. He's brought it down to that level practically by himself.
Just by sitting there.
Yeah, and here's Chappie. He thinks he can take on this Frog. Look at him use the NATO. It's not going to end up hitting very many people, but that dash is going to end up sending both of them home, and that's going to be that.
He fights him off.
He was maxed out. That
he was,
Frog
yeah.
was somewhere between the realm of massive and fed and huge. That was a very large, very well-equipped Frog.
Something your worm was not.
No.
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 Starving and small.
Very small, not sluggish at all, which is very disappointing. And we didn't even see him get fed.
No.
In the funniest way possible. I have to admit,
oh.
Chappie's invisible worm kill.
Yeah, that would have been a stream highlight, but it's a little harder to predict when you're looking at health bars all day and then it's just 0.
Yeah.
Oh. It's like Monologics a little bit earlier, like with those Clunk double kills coming in and again. It's just like, all right, I just got to leave it on Clunk. Well, I can't leave it on the worm. I'm sorry. That's not an option. There's too many other things to do.
The worm is a valuable player.
Nah.
The worm is a valuable player.
He's on the bench all the time. Then sometimes he gets a tidbit.
Well, as we come to a close in Game 2, it seems like we're going to a Game 3. Ritz and Run now tied up.
Yeah.
The first game was decided by item picks. This game was decided more by the character picks. It feels like it got to a late game, and Vinny and Froggy were able to do the thing. Especially Frog got the feed that he needed to become really big, and Gnaw just dropped off entirely. And he was the one that was fed early game, remember. So that solar investment into the Gnaw, it did not end up paying off at all. So that 2,700 solar just didn't do nearly enough for them.
All right, so end game, 2-4 on the Leon, 0-7 on Bert on that Raylan, and then 5-5 on the Gnaw. So what kind of, as you said, we talked a little bit about Raylan. You know, we're not going to slam them or anything, but the build definitely looked a little strange. It didn't really know what it wanted to focus on. It was a very clear focus coming out from Run in Space because their Raylan was able to, get the range. It started dealing with the Weedlings. They were able to get the damage and push out from there. But on the flip side, Bert, we didn't get any kind of big tower pushes. We didn't get any kills. The snipes just did not connect near enough at the time. And because we didn't really have any kind of bigger tower pushes to capitalize on the early game that Gnaw was able to secure for them, they fell off. And there was no tower deaths.
There were no tower deaths at all. They did put in some damage, though. They
put on damage, but,
not enough to get any
1 bar or 10. 20, 100, doesn't matter. It's still alive. Yeah, no solar, no pressure, no rocket droids.
Exactly.
Nothing.
And it also was interesting because if we look at the build order behind the Leon as well, he didn't go for damage until much later. He ended up picking 3 ranks of pills.
Early.
Very early. Very, very early. So either he was very heavily pressured and couldn't get to doing the burst game that he wanted to until much later or something. But despite the lack of regen on Team Ritz, they ended up pulling it together against the Gnaw.
It was a good job. Good job by them.
Well played by both teams, but we're going to a Game 3 now.
Indeed we are.
Yeah, we'll see how Ritz and Run do against each other.
All right, so when we come back, Ritz and Run going to be given the final hurrah because whoever wins moves on to round of 8. Very good round of 16 matches, I got to say. And, when we return, we will have Tea with Cream and the last of the game.